Let's see if I can actually do this in one shot or not. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? The Hearthstone meta is pretty interesting, isn't it? Don't pay too much attention to my background because I know that it's absolutely trash, but you want to know what else is absolutely trashed? The Hearthstone meta. Beast Hunter, in particular, is absolutely dominating every single deck to the point where there are only two classes that can maintain above a 50%, according to HS Replay. Now, to contextualize these numbers, these are numbers that are going around all of the ranks, not just specific ranks. However, Beast Hunter is a deck that absolutely dominates at every single rank, and you want to know my biggest problem that I have, not only just with Beast Hunter, but with the Hunter class entirely? This comment right here. Playing Beast Hunter over the last couple of days has felt like playing Hearthstone in easy mode, and every single Hunter deck that has come out, except for like a handful, has felt very easy and very simple. And that's the main problem that I have about losing to this style of archetype, is that it's just, it feels so bad to go up against a strategy where you know the moment that you're playing into a Hunter, it's like, oh, they're going to be dealing face damage to me. I'm playing a deck that cannot deal with face damage, so I'm going to automatically lose. And this is one thing that I really wanted to talk about in today's video, is the identification of Hunter and how it identifies with the rest of its classes. Horrible way of doing this, but I'm just going to one-shot it all the way through, all mistakes, all of that. But in any case, the main problem that I have with Hunter is the hero power. The Hunter hero power has got to be one of the most I guess, influential ways that this class is building its cards, but it also goes into why the Hunter cards just seem like they're ridiculously overpowered for a class that kind of needs it, unfortunately. Because like I'm saying, like, the hero power is deal 2 damage to the enemy hero, right? There is almost no way to make this class into a slower control deck, or you could argue mid-range for sure, but like, the thing is, like, Hunter only has these two strategies: go face, build a big board, and if it dies, then you die. There's just not a lot of different ways to play Hunter, and that's something that really drives me up the wall about the class, and why I refuse to play this. Like, how many Hunter wins am I at compared to the rest of my classes? This is how much I hate Hunter. So this is really going to be kind of a skewed opinion, but I'm going to do the best I can in order to give fairness where fairness is due to the Hunter class. But just know going into this video that I am not a big Hunter fan, and that will dictate some of my opinions that come up in this video. But one thing I want to get into before we talk about the meta in general is the card quality that Hunter has. This is the list that No Hands Gamer has recently pushed to rank 3 legend as of yesterday. I don't know if this is the best version of the list. This is definitely not the most common, but things are kind of still changing right now, and people are trying to optimize what is clearly the best deck in the game right now. But the thing is about this deck is that everything is trying to beat it in top legend, so you have to run cards like Imported Tarantula in order to beat the in order to beat the Blessed Priests. And apparently collateral damage is in this deck. I have no idea what this is in for, but this is an example of one card that it's like, what the actual hell is this? You know, this amount of damage that you can deal. Granted, it's 8 mana, but like, the thing is, like, this card is just all in on doing what Hunter already wants to do: deal a lot of damage. And if you can hit the high roll on this, and if you hit 3 1 HP minions, this is 15 damage for 8 mana. That's a lot of damage. But the thing is about this deck is that every single card seems like it is so freaking busted. Batty Guest, primo 1-drop. Like, it's not the greatest, it's not the most flashy, but it's something that sticks on the board. And against Demon Hunter in particular, if you play Batty Guest on turn 1 and they attack into it on turn 1, and then they have to attack into it on turn 2 again because they don't have a card to deal with it. Let's see, that's 5 damage that you're already taking as a Demon Hunter, and that's the reason why the Demon Hunter statistics are very bad. But the card quality of Hunter is amazing. Cards like Doggy Biscuit, this is just an amazing amount of stats to get for 2 mana, no matter how you dress it. Ramming Mount literally gives a minion immune any minion that you want, and if you play a turn 2 minion and your opponent does nothing, you're just going to solo the game. Like, this card drives me crazy whenever it curves out. Wild Spirits, absolutely busted card. Like, the card quality for Hunter is so amazing. Being able to summon a random beast. Granted, it takes a little bit of setup, but when you have cards like Harpoon Gun and Pet Collector, which in my opinion are 2 cards that should be up to be nerfed, these cards completely, take away how long it takes for this this high roll to happen, to where you can easily get it as early as turn 5, and then you have a King Crush that is hitting face, or you have a Mountain Bear, again, against aggro Demon Hunter, which automatically wins the game. There are so many high-quality cards. Hydrolodon, how did I forget about the most busted turn 4 that you can get out of Harpoon Gun? Like, the card quality for Hunter is so amazing because its hero power dictates what it's going to do. This has been a topic that's been discussed for so long in Hearthstone, but just like the hero power really dictates how good cards need to be in Hunter, because what ranges for good in Hunter is absolutely giga trash in all of the other tiers. Their card quality has to be at least a 4 out of 5 in order to see any play whatsoever. Cards like Serpent Bloom, very, very specific. This card will almost never see play unless you find it out of a Noggling, for example. Devouring Swarm is actually another great example to when this card could be used for resources, but you're not going to be using this for resources in a Hunter deck in today's meta, or in any meta recently, because they don't care about value. They just care about the damage. Cards like Aim Shot, for example, are a perfect example of what I am talking about, where it's just the card quality is so massive. Remember when this was just a deal 7 for 3 mana in Quest Hunter? Like, there's no other archetype that comes close to having this amount of damage so easily, and it's just like every single turn this is happening. So now that we've talked about the Hunter cards, because I don't want to spend all day ranting about every single individual Hunter card, let's go into what is actually the meta right now, and where are these other numbers coming from, because as you can see, Hunter is at the top, followed by Warlock, Mage, Druid, and Shaman. These tend to be the best classes of this expansion so far, so it's not too surprising to see Paladin, Demon Hunter, Priest, Rogue, and Warrior at the bottom. This has kind of been the norm, but there have been some honest-to-God shakeups. So if we look at the Hearthstone meta at top Legend, there's Spooky Mage, Beast Hunter, and Control Paladin, and we'll get to this here in a second on why we're seeing these. But let's look at the bottom of the rank in all regions since the Maul and Disorder mini set has come out, and I should probably move this over here just so that way I'm not in the way here. So what's going on here? Beast Hunter almost at a 60%. That is absolutely busted. That is something that is noteworthy, especially for the casual performance, because like you need to make balance changes around the casual experience, and right now the casual experience is Q and a Hunter, lose the game. It's just that simple. There's Aggro Druid, there's Imp Lock, there's Curse Imp Lock, there's Spooky Mage, there's Rat and Beast Hunters. There's a decent amount of decks that are trying to beat the Hunters, but this is not indicative of what the top Legend meta is at all. But if you go through the tiers of the ranks, things aren't really changing all too much. Suddenly, Naga Priest comes into the mix here. There's still the same decks that you're seeing. In Diamond, the exact same thing. Rat and Beast Hunter apparently comes up a little bit. Control Shaman is still hanging on by a thread. Then suddenly, Control Shaman is starting to get booted out a little bit as Naga Priest increases once you get into the Diamond ranks. But then once you hit Legend, you start to see this shift. Because Legend players are hopefully the smarter players that we have, and are aware that Beast Hunter is going to be something that you're going to see on your climb, and you have to beat it. But what beats Beast Hunter? Well, if you take a look at top Legend, you can already see the answers. The decks that people are playing to beat Hunter are Spooky Mage, Control Paladin, Priest, Ping Mage, or just Mage in general, as well as Aggro Druid. These are the decks that can beat Hunter. However, one thing that I want to point out is that there is not a single deck in this tier list that is allowed to lose the Hunter. Like, Rogue used to do amazing into Hunter, but now it's not so good, so this is kind of the only exception on this list. But Curse Warlock, Imp Warlock has decent matchups into it. Keyword decent, it's not great. But Mind Warlock has a pretty good matchup into it. And if we look at the actual statistics here, like, here are the bad matchups. Like, Aggro is supposed to be good. Imp Warlock, again, 50-50. About 52, still slightly favored for the Hunter. But this is the problem with it. Like, there are so many strategies, but almost all of them, almost every single one of them, at least in the Legend ranks where I'm getting this data from, is just bad against Hunter. Demon Hunter, 65%. Another Demon Hunter deck, 64%. Aggro Demon Hunter, 73%. 73% against Secret Mage. That stuff makes sense because Hunter has always been good against mages. And credit where credit is due, this number has been slowly going down, but that's only because everybody in the meta is trying to beat Hunter. Everyone needs to beat Hunter in order for your deck to be legitimate. Otherwise, it's not a playable deck on the rankings. And that is a reason why this class needs to get nerfed. It doesn't matter how quote-unquote fair or how, simple the cards seem to be. When the stats are this high, there is clearly something that is going wrong with how we tackle this deck, because you don't want top legend to literally only consist of Spooky Mage, Blessed Priest, and Beast Hunter when everyone's trying to beat Beast Hunter. And that's exactly what you're seeing at this top legend deck list here this top legend tier list. Like, Spooky Mage beats Beast Hunter. That's the reason why it's here. Beast Hunter, obviously a good deck, and it beats everything. That's why it's here. And Control Paladin, believe it or not, is not just, it's not decent against Beast Hunter. It's okay against Beast Hunter. But the reason why this deck in particular is seeing play is because Blessed Priest, the counter to Beast Hunter, absolutely hates to see Control Paladin because of cards like Equality as well as Righteous Defense. So there are reasons why you are seeing these decks, and just because you are seeing these decks does not mean that Hunter doesn't need to be nerfed. This is literally the meta that we have to play in order for Beast Hunter to not be a dominant deck at Legend, and players are aware of that. There are some people like me that don't want to play Hunter and don't want to touch this class, and will do anything it takes in order to beat it. And that's exactly what I did. I freaking went to Legend with only Boon Priest, with only Boon Priest. How many Hunters did I see? 37% of Hunters over about over 60 games. I'm not gonna do the math real quick, but in any case, like, this is just insane, dude. 37%. This is so high. This is ridiculously high. More than a third of the meta, almost 4/10 of the meta, is nothing but Hunters. And this was it at a 10-star bonus, by the way. This is more likely to see more Hunters because, like, case in point, I barely saw any Priests, and Priest is like the third or fourth most popular deck at top Legend. But since I'm not in that MMR anymore, now I'm there. But since I wasn't there to begin with, people are defaulting to Hunter. And this is another thing that's super frustrating about it, is that when people give up and they don't want to play the decks that require a little bit more brain power, they just go to Hunter. And I'm not trying to say this as like if you play Hunter, you're completely brain dead or anything like that. No, there are just some people that lose, they get frustrated, and they want to play the easier deck to get a few wins. I did that several times. Like, I have played Beast Hunter for the occasional free wins, but I will say that I was not having fun doing exactly what I thought Hunter would do. Play the 1-on-1, play the 2-on-2, play the 3-on-3, suddenly scam the game by turn 4. I just don't like this style of gameplay. I don't think I can shape that any other way. But goddamn, it's just, there are so many ways to lose to Hunter that it's no matter, that's no wonder that people like Draco Cat, who are Demon Hunter mains, are completely tired of this, because look at this, 65, 73. This needs to be changed. So this actually begs the big question: what in Hunter needs to be changed, and what are the powerful cards? The powerful cards are almost everything. Like, if you look at this kept win rate, for example, this is all over the place. Usually you start to see like a dip between like 50 to like 30% kept, but this deck has a 90%, 80%, 70, 60, 40, 40, 30, 30, 20, and then it starts dipping into the teens and the cards that you would never keep, like King Crush, Wing Commander, yada yada. But oh my dear God, dude, like, look at these win rates. Like, Spirit Poacher is the highest mulligan win rate and the highest kept win rate out of the entire deck. Okay, excluding these cards. These cards shouldn't be here right now. But that's the crazy thing to me, is that Spirit Poacher is damn near one of the best cards in the deck. And one thing that I will say is that Sylvanas does fit in this deck perfectly, and I originally thought that only Druid would work, so I'm kind of happy to see a new card seeing play, but it's in a Hunter deck, and this also makes the Boon Priest, the Blessed Priest matchup even more frustrating. And even if it is like, what, like a freaking it's a 43%. This used to be a 70-30 matchup for Hunter. Hunter only got better with the mini set, no matter how you look at it, because it got an honest-to-God counter to one of its biggest problems, and now Spooky Mage is the go-to to beat Hunter in top Legend. Is it in top Legend? Yeah, in top Legend, about the same stats, because it's just, Beast Hunter can beat the priests now. And I actually saw this in my stats, and I kept getting super frustrated whenever I lost to Hunter. But just when you look at these cards, there are just so many high power level cards, when really, like, if you change these, it completely kills them. And that's the main problem that I have with Hunter. That's the thesis statement, or or whatever the concluding point, the concluding point of this video essay, or this video, whatever you want to call it. The problem with Hunter is that all of its cards are super busted the moment that they're released, but then when they get touched, when they get changed to any capacity, they die. They die. The only exception to that right now is obviously Wild Spirits, because all they did was just take off one attack off of a weapon. That's not a mana revert. That's not like hard changing what the card is actually doing. That's just mitigating the damage, and that's absolutely fine. You can tick back things by 1. But the thing is with this card is that if you make it 4 mana, unplayable. Absolutely unplayable. Even the designers said that this card was originally supposed to be 4 mana, but they realized that it was way too slow, so they had to make it 3 mana. This is just the overall point that I have about Hunter. Cards become super busted at one point, but then if you make a subtle change to them, except for like Wild Spirits changing like 1 attack, that's not that big of a difference in my opinion. But if you change the mana, if you change like how many minions get summoned, if you change almost anything about Hunter cards, they completely die. And there's another card that I want to point this out with. Harpoon Gun. Harpoon Gun used to reduce cost by 2. Almost never saw play. And if you were to use Harpoon Gun right now in this deck and only discount by 2 mana, it would be fair. It would be fair, but people wouldn't run it in the deck. People wouldn't run it in the deck. Hunter's turn 4 is actually kind of awkward when you look at this. List. This actually doesn't have Blade Master Okani in it, which is something that I would actually recommend. This is, I think, the most popular list with like the Slate Hounds and whatnot. But just like this is the problem that I have with it. Like Slate Hound, for example, is a primo card, a 5 mana 6/5 beast. Primo stats with a tag, or with a tribe, and its effect is actually pretty damn good if you're able to get its effect. But this is my main problem with cards like this. They give primo stats to a Hunter card. They give it an ability that works with the Hunter class. But guess what? Beasts aren't really that good. Yes, there's the Rat deck. Yes, it can work, but there's a reason why people aren't playing it in Top Legend, because it's a little bit of a gimmick and takes a bit too much setup for a reward that can easily be removed by a mage with any AoE. Same thing with Priest. So that's my main issue with this card. Like, even though it's a primo 5-drop, it is still not that good because this doesn't help what Hunter wants to do. It wants to go face. It doesn't really build that big of a board. And maybe if there is a meta where we can hopefully stick a large board that doesn't just have the threat of getting AoE'd every single turn, kind of like what we're seeing now with Mage and with Priest, then maybe this card would see some play. But to close this point, to close this overall point, I just want to note that Hunter cards have this freaking thing that they have to teeter-totter on, where the card is absolutely busted or it's absolutely unplayable. And if you're gonna have Hunter players have any meaningful games, they need to have the powerful cards. There's just so many weak cards that become amazingly busted when you buff them because of their potential, and it's just like literally one can make a difference in Hunter. That's pretty much what this point is all about. So what would be my suggestions? What would be my suggestions on how to solve the Hunter problem? I hate to say it, but I really don't have the best amount of suggestions, and this is why a lot of people are having problems figuring out what to do with this class. What exactly can we nerf? We can nerf cards like Harpoon Gun, but then again, it just kind of dies, so is it even worth it at that point? Is it better just to have this be the go-to for now, because it's predictable. It is kind of predictable if you think about it. You also have cards like Pet Collector, which I believe could be knocked back a little bit. I think you could make this card 6 mana, but again, if you make this card 6 mana, almost completely kills it. The reason why this card is busted is because if you play it on 5, it's an extreme amount of tempo. It gives you a rush minion immediately, and you can potentially build up for something better. But the real reason why I want this card at 6 mana is because I hate seeing it on turn 4. I hate a Hunter coining this on turn 4, trading their Asharan Saber just to play another Pet Collector to get the other card just to automatically win the game on turn 5. I think that is just way too soon for this card to be able to high roll. So you either need to change Pet Collector, or you need to change how the 4 mana Beast, which, why isn't it on here? What? This deck does actually not have all of the cards on here. And this is another reason I have a problem with Hunter. The decks are so unoptimized, man. They're so unoptimized to where you look at an optimized Hunter deck and it's completely busted. It's completely busted, and everyone is playing Beast Hunter at top 1000 Legend. So let's go ahead and wrap up this video because I have been ranting for quite some time. What would be the ways to change Hunter? I think the cards that you need to change are the Harpoon Gun, the Pet Collector, and another card that you could potentially change is Wild Spirits. You could potentially change the Saber. the thing I hate the thing I hate about suggesting these nerfs is that all the Hunter players are going to come at me being like, Clark, if you nerf these cards, then the Hunter class is going to be dead. That's my point. That is my point. If we nerf this class, it is dead. And kind of like what we saw with the beginning of this expansion, Hunter was dead in the water at Legend because it just wasn't good enough in order to compete with Rogue, to be complete with to compete with Bless Priest, and it's just, that's the fucking point. Hunter is never a balanced class. It either destroys or it gets destroyed. There has never been a meta where Hunter's in the middle, just picking on a few things and just losing to a few other things. It's just, there's no meta where Hunter is there's just no, I'm not gonna repeat this again. I've already come so close to finishing this video to where I'm not gonna edit this out. So this is literally how it's like for me to make these videos. But guys, what do you think? What is your opinion on Hunter? I've already ranted long enough about this, and I really didn't propose all too many suggestions. I just needed to put out there that Hunter is one of the most frustrating archetypes for me to deal with, and it ultimately comes down to the fact that it is like playing Hearthstone on easy mode. And when you're not playing the deck in easy mode, it's almost like you're playing a Nox Ramus boss with a non-optimized deck. That's just the main reason that a lot of people have with playing Hunter. Oh, one more thing that I did forget to mention. I have seen some people bring up the fact that if Renathal was not in Hunter, this deck would not nearly be as busted. If Renathal was taken out of the game or changed to some capacity, then we would just be seeing the regular Beast Hunter. So I don't think that argument has any validity, because regular Beast Hunter before the Castle Nap 3 expansion was already something that was doing amazingly well, and having the additional 10 HP, if anything, just buffs the rest of the classes around it, not just Hunter, like Mage, for example. Spooky Mage needs that extra 10 HP. But even if Renathal wasn't in the game and we were all still playing 30 card, 30 HP lists, Beast Hunter would still be the best. Like, it still kills you the fastest, and it has ways of being able to make the deck a lot more optimized at 30 cards than at 40 cards, because we've seen a lot of cards at this range. But again, what do you guys think about all of this? What is your opinion on Hunter? Do you think it needs to be nerfed? Do you think it needs to be changed to any kind of capability? Do you think it's fine the way that it is? Maybe we need buffs in order to raise everything else around it, but we kind of saw what happens if we buff cards already, so it's just a matter of if those buffs are going to make a difference and if it's actually going to hit Hunter the way that we think it does. I don't think so. I think we're going to get Hunter nerfs to some capacity. I hope that they're small, because this is the one positive thing I'm going to say about Hunter. The deck overall feels fine when it doesn't absolutely high roll. Like, if it doesn't have Peasant on 1, into 2-drop on 2, into Harpoon Gun on 3, into Big Beast on 4, into Pet Collector on 5, into Concede on turn 6 when they play Tavish, this deck does feel fine, and I have to admit that. And one thing that I also forgot to admit, I know I keep going over to this, thinking I'm going to end the video, but this has been going down. This number has been going down as time progresses. But again, the main problem that I have with Hunter is how the meta is completely centered around it. You are either playing Hunter or you are beating Hunter. There is no other strategy that's working in Hearthstone right now. But in any case, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. If you guys like this kind of stuff, feel free to like it, feel free to subscribe, feel free to do yada, 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 do all that kind of crazy YouTuber stuff. I'm not going to tell you guys what to do. I'm just going to make the videos that you guys keep enjoying. So one other thing I'm going to say before I end this is, what is the name of this series going to be? Because this is very similar to Ludwig's style of video, right? Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and call it Mogu Male, like Mogu Cultist or Mogu Shapeshifter. I think that'd be a great way to make a funny meme out of this, and if Ludwig actually see this, he'll actually appreciate the fact that, number one, he's inspired this video, number one, as well as the fact that, well, I just thought it'd be really funny. So, Ludwig, if you're watching this video, hi friend, good to see you. But in any case, thanks for watching this video. Feel free to like, feel free to subscribe, yada, yada, yada. We'll see you for the next topic. Feel free to suggest topics down below, and bye. Good to see you.